best way to judge another's character is to see how they respond when adversity hits. How they respond when an entire fan base wants their head like a real life episode of Game of Thrones. We're about to find out what Chip Kelly is made of. Can he adapt? Can he get past his ego? Is he truly one of the great offensive minds in the game today? Can he turn this Eagles offense around? Well, I'll tell you what, the New York Jets defense is the stingiest of stiff tests, but you got to start somewhere. First team to 20 wins on Sunday. Okay, maybe first to 10. Mike Owens is here. I'm Adrian Fedke. Let's talk about it. We don't want to start 0-3. It would be the first time since 1999 when the Eagles started 0-4, but we do have history on our side. We've never lost to the Jets. We're 10-0.
Well, history might be the only thing that we have on our side right now because it's been ugly here in Philadelphia after that Dallas game that the offense didn't even show up for. And right now, the saying in Philadelphia is that the time is on Chip Kelly. It's time for Chip Kelly to show why we brought him in here for his offensive prowess. He's going to have to show it on Sunday against the Jets. Hopefully, he's going to be able to make the adjustments that he needs to make because, boy, it was not pretty against the Cowboys.
Not pretty at all. Not pretty at all. You know, all offseason, Chip Kelly made all these moves and really loaded up on defense. Took the whole Bill Walsh philosophy of loading up on defense and let the scheme take care of the offense. Well, the scheme ain't doing shit for him right now. So how can the offense be fixed? What do you think? What are the problems that you see right now?
Of the offensive line. That's the main thing. That's what this thing all comes down to. People are wondering why the Eagles aren't able to throw the ball downfield. Well, right now, what teams are doing is, they're putting both of their safeties, back deep in coverage. And then they're also playing, just a basic six-man front. And with that six-man front, they've been able to stop the Eagles' running game without a problem, really. And, well, that's causing major issues for the Eagles because their offensive line has struggled big time. Bradford has really no time back there to do anything. When he does have time, he's very inaccurate, which is kind of odd. And Eagles aren't able to go downfield because of, those two deep safeties and the inability for us to run the ball.
Yeah, the run blocking's been abysmal, flat out. It's been awful, probably the worst in the league right now. And what I was seeing on tape, somehow I watched this game not only once again, but then I went and watched the coach's film as well. So, boom, bullet through my brain. What I'm seeing is this. And why I'm optimistic is this. It's not the guards that are struggling. It's our all pros. It's our, the good players on our offensive line. Jason Kelce. I mean, we talk about how he's the top 5 center in the league. He's not even top 5 on his own team right now when it comes to centers. And they don't even have 5 centers. Jason Peters, his run blocking, absolutely abysmal. It does bring up questions about his age. We'll get to that later. And then Brent Celek. Since when can Brent Celek not block? That never happens. So those are the 3 that I'm looking at. Lane Johnson's been, okay. He hasn't been great or anything. And looking at the tape, Allen Barbre and Andrew Gardner, they really, really weren't that bad. They were average. And that's, that to me was a little bit more encouraging. Barbre's pass protection was pretty good. Gardner's run blocking was okay. And that's what I saw on tape. So if Kelce, if Peters, if Celek, if they can turn it around on the run blocking, then we might be all right. But you got to do it on the field.
Yeah, and to do it on the field, it all comes down to execution. And right now, they are just not executing. Communication is really lacking out there, and that's really the key. Other thing is, this offensive line is committing so many penalties, especially holding penalties. And really, holding penalties for this offense it's just an absolute killer, especially on first down. And they've got to find a way to clean that up. And if they can't clean up those types of fundamental things, then you're going to continue to see this offense struggle because it all comes down to the offensive line. And like you said, the most surprising thing through the first two games is it's not the guards, which we maybe expected to struggle. It's the key guys like Kelsey and Peters.
Yeah, these are the guys that are supposed to hide the deficiency of the guards, and it's just flat out not happening right now at all whatsoever. I mean, it's been a slop show.
Yeah, it has. So you got to put this on the offensive line. This really has nothing to do with the running backs at all. You can tell that DeMarco Murray is obviously frustrated right now. Well, he came to Philadelphia because he felt like he had a better shot to win, and it's just not happening right now. He is really not getting anywhere to go. So they're going to have to get it together along that line.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing I've been hearing from Eagles fans all week is how the offense has become predictable. And here's what I have to say about that. It's about execution, not predictability. What did Vince Lombardi run in the 60s? He ran one goddamn running play, the sweep play. It's about how you execute. The good offenses are the ones that still manufacture yards even when you know what's coming. You think the Redskins in the 80s with John Riggins, you think they had some complex, unpredictable offense? No, it's because they had a great offensive line and a running back who could run the ball. So, I don't want to hear that bullshit that our offense is all of a sudden predictable. Every offense is a little bit predictable because you watch the tape for a reason. You can see and study the tendencies of what's coming. But it all comes down to, executing and doing what you're supposed to do, doing your job, so to speak.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. And that's why I brought up the execution part. So until they can figure out a way to execute, then it's going to be trouble here.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to bring up, I'm hearing from guys like Elliott Short-Parks and stuff like that. By the way, he's a freaking tool bag. Oh my god, I can't stand that guy. But he's out on Philly Sports Talk talking about how the pass protection hasn't been that bad. Bradford's only been sacked once on 88 pass attempts. That is true. Those are the numbers. But that's why stats in the NFL mean absolutely nothing. Stats are deceiving. So while I say that stats are deceiving, I got another stat for you. So I'm contradicting myself. I am such a hypocrite. But here's the number that I have. All right, so Bradford, he's had 2.5 seconds or less in the pocket, 63.7% of his snaps, of his dropbacks. And that is the 9th worst in the NFL. So that tells me that he's getting rid of the ball, and the play calling has been conservative because Bradford hasn't had time to throw because the offensive line isn't giving him protection. So there you go, Elliott Short-Parks.
Yeah, well, the thing there is that with Bradford, he's also not able to set his feet. And you can see that here through the first two games. He's really struggled with that. And, in the preseason, especially that Packers game, it's definitely kind of surprising because he was on fire in that Packers game. He was setting his feet. He was very accurate. But right now in the regular season, he's not setting his feet. And at times he's been pretty inaccurate.
Yeah, and let's stick on the Bradford subject because it's been a strange kind of 2 months for him. He has the Green Bay game where he goes 10 for 10, throws 3 touchdowns in the preseason. He had 4 drives, led the Eagles to 4 touchdown drives, and then the regular season came along, and all of a sudden he's playing like a scared little puppy dog. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Obviously, the offensive line isn't helping him out. Wide receivers aren't really causing a lot of separation, but it's the inaccuracy which is a little bit concerning. Is this just an inconsistent quarterback? Is this what we're seeing? Is this what he is, or is he rusty because he hasn't played? So was the 10 for 10 thing just kind of beginner's luck thing? So that's the question I pose to you. Is it rust, or is it just the inconsistency? Is this who he is?
Right now, I think it's really hard to, make any kind of judgment on Bradford because the way that they're unable to run the football and how defenses are playing the Eagles with those, 2 safeties back deep, is not really giving Bradford much in the passing game. Even though he has been inaccurate at times, there's not much that he's able to do right now. So until the Eagles can really get that running game going and really start to, get the offense jump started and get it working like it was in that Green Bay game in the preseason, we're not going to be able to make a judgment until then. Really, at this point, I don't think we're going to be able to fairly assess Bradford until maybe halfway through the season.
Yeah, I agree with you. Before the Green Bay game, I think you remember me saying this. I was, kind of with Bradford, I was going to reserve my judgment until like a month or two into the season because I expected him to come out rusty and, to take a little bit of time to get reacclimated to everything. I mean, he hasn't played, and then he goes 10 for 10 and it just kind of changed my perspective a little bit. But now I'm going back to my original theory of, just waiting a little bit now because, what I'm seeing out there, yeah, he's inaccurate. He also doesn't feel comfortable in the pocket. I mean, it's closing around him quickly. But I don't know. It's a weird dynamic right now with him. And like you said, it's hard to judge.
Yeah, well, it's really been just a bizarre start to this season. The Falcons game, very hard to judge Bradford because that was a type of game where they got behind by so much, and with the way that the Falcons were playing, all the Eagles could do was those short, little passes that are less than 10 yards. He looked accurate on those, but I mean that's about all they could do in that game. And then you get into the game against the Cowboys. And, well, the running game, it just wasn't working at all because our offensive line was horrible. So, really, Bradford didn't have much time back there to throw, and he could only do those short passes again. And, the Cowboys game probably, he wanted that. He probably wanted that one back because it wasn't one of his best games. But, yeah, it's really just been an inconsistent start to the year. The offense hasn't been able to get into a rhythm really besides the second half of that Falcons game.
Yeah, absolutely. And this brings us to the Jets defense. This Jets defense has been it's been stud-muffingly awesome. What can you say? Through 2 weeks, they've forced 10 turnovers already. The most they forced in their first 2 games in their franchise's history. Allowing 8.5 points per game. That's tops in the league. So they're just clicking on all cylinders.
Oh well, yeah, they're pretty hot right now, and that's not promising for our struggling offense. Not promising at all. You're gonna have to. We're talking about, Bradford and throwing the football. Well, now he's got to go up against Cromartie and Revis, 2 of the best cornerbacks in the league. So, geez, this is a game where we could really use the running game.
Yeah, yeah, really could. Well, it's going to be hard to run the ball when the Jets have Leonard Williams, Muhammad Wilkerson, Temple made, by the way, and Damon Harrison. So good luck.
So yeah, with that being said, what the hell do we do?
Well, let's just hope that this is a game where I see Darren Sproles being utilized a lot in the flats. On the left side of the Jets linebackers, you got David Harris and Calvin Pace. While these guys are solid veterans, David Harris is a stud muffin, but at this point in their careers, they're not as fast as they used to be. So if you can get Sproles out in space, right flat, I think they can generate some offense that way. Get them in the flat, little swing passes, screen passes. Maybe you get some arrow routes from the slot. I don't know, but you got to get. I think this is a game where Sproles is a factor because I don't see how they can move it anywhere else.
No, I agree with you. It's definitely going to have to be a Sproles type of game. Another guy that you talked about pre-show is Kenyon Barner, who was a preseason stud, and now he's a guy that could maybe see some playing time, especially if DeMarco Murray isn't able to go with the hamstring injury. So he's a guy to keep an eye on too. But yeah, really. This is gonna, be the Ryan Matthews and the Darren Sproles show. Yeah.
If Murray doesn't play, I want to see some sets out there where you see Barner and Sproles out on the field at the same time. You gotta figure out ways to move the ball. And from what I'm seeing from these receivers, I mean, if they're not getting any separation against Atlanta or Dallas's secondary, they sure as fuck aren't going to get any separation against the Jets.
That's for sure. And, you don't want to be really trying to throw the ball towards Revis especially or Cromartie. So, I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for the offense. So, yeah, Sproles is going to have to be key.
Yeah. Now, when you look at the numbers, even though it's only 2 games, the stats aren't as great as what you might think from the Jets. They're allowing 240.5 receiving yards per game. That's 17th. 3.8 yards per carry. That's 14th in the league. So from that perspective, the stats, aren't great or anything, but it's the turnovers. I mean, they're generating so many turnovers early on. 10 turnovers already. And we're talking about a defense that, 51. They posted 51 turnovers their last 3 years. That was last in the NFL under Rex Ryan. Now all of a sudden, Todd Bowles comes in here. Temple made. Got to throw that out too, by the way. And he's already generating 10 turnovers, and defense has been on fire.
Yeah, well, by them, getting those 10 turnovers, they're only allowing 8.5 points per game, which is tops in the league. So, that's really where the turnovers become a factor, and them not allowing that many points. So it's not going to be easy. So with that, talking about those 10 turnovers, the Eagles are going to have to be extremely careful in what they do because we can't afford one turnover at this point.
Yeah, that's for sure. Now, the law of averages kind of says, well, obviously the Jets probably aren't going to force 5 turnovers in this game. But we'll see. After watching the Colts game again, I saw 2 instances where, they were legitimate turnovers forced by the defense because Bowles brought the heat on Andrew Luck. Luck pretty much got hit as he threw, and that's what led to 2 interceptions. So, that's the stuff that needs to be avoided, with this offensive line going up against that sort of pressure. You can't have any of that stuff. That's the stuff you have to avoid. So that's why I'm thinking, you got it. You got to get the screen game going. Got to get the passes out into the flats, and if they can generate some yardage that way, maybe you can kind of offset all the heavy pressure and the blitzing from Bowles.
Yeah, well, the screen game is really going to be key, especially if the Jets do decide to bring that the pressure with the blitzing. Eagles are that's where Sproles could become a factor in that screen game. So uh, that's something to watch out for. And we kind of really haven't had to see how Bradford reacts to the blitz because teams haven't been able to have to blitz that much because they've been doing a great job of just getting pressure from their 6-man box. So it'll be interesting to see how Bradford would react if the Jets do decide to bring the house.
Yeah, that concerns me.
Yeah, it's a big concern because if we're having trouble with the regular 6-man box, and if teams decide to bring the heat, we could really be in trouble.
Yeah, yeah. So Sproles, maybe a little bit of Barner, and the other guy that I think is key in the passing game is Zach Ertz. So, but Ertzy got to get a little bit better this week. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good. Is he going to make it Ertz good?
I mean, I think everyone's waiting for it. We saw, what Ertz can do in this offense when he had those 15 receptions against the Redskins last year. So, it's hopefully it's just a matter of Bradford and Ertz forming some type of connection. But I mean, through two games, you really haven't seen much of it. So they really got to get on the same page because Ertz is such a weapon in the passing game.
Yeah, and that's another thing that we got to take into consideration too. I brought this up in the Atlanta recap, but Ertz didn't play all preseason. Bradford, new quarterback coming in here. Obviously, there hasn't been a rapport built between the two, and it's not only just Ertz; it's been pretty much the entire receiving corps. What I'm seeing is, Bradford has tried to throw back shoulder on a couple times, and well, the receivers aren't looking for it. So that's something that's, going to happen over time. The chemistry is going to get built over time. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, well, it's something that I'm praying for. I'm hoping that they form some type of chemistry. This whole thing so far, it's been like Chip Kelly's science experiment. We've gone into his mad scientist lab, and he has all these formulas. He's always in there working all the time. I mean, even rides his bicycle to the lab. Well, right now we're kind of wondering what the formula was, for this season. Did something go wrong somewhere along the way? So we'll see. But hopefully, this is one of those formulas that take some time to develop.
Yeah, yeah. I want to get back to the offensive line really quick because I meant to talk about this earlier and I forgot. So let's talk about it now. Okay, so last two NFL drafts, we know that we have aging linemen in Evan Mathis, obviously not here anymore, and Jason Peters. And we don't take a lineman. That's the thing that I'm most upset about anything that Chip Kelly has done, is do it. I know a lot of people were pissed off that Evan Mathis got released. But you know what? He's looked like shit in Denver so far, okay? So our guards have been pretty much on point with what Mathis is doing right now in Mile High. So that just wanted to get my thoughts out there on that. So what do you think? I mean, no linemen, aging guys, and you're not drafting people?
Definitely a big concern. And the hope was that you still had a year or 2 good years left with Peters there at left tackle. And, I really thought that, he still had at least another good year left in him. But the way he's playing right now, it's not promising at all. And, he's really the one guy that you look at and you really hope that he can pick up his play because If he continues to struggle the way he is, then the Eagles are in trouble this season because Peters, the past few years, really ever since he came here from Buffalo, he's just been a solid player. But this year, it's not good at all. He just looks bad.
He is 33 now, so you can pose the question: is he declining?
Yeah, I certainly can, and I was hoping that he wasn't declining, but if he is declining, it's not a good sign.
No, not a good sign at all. But again, it is only 2 games, so the hope is that it's just a bad 2-game stretch, and that's just what it is. He's always been, great run blocker. He's so athletic out there, but the first 2 weeks, man, I'm just not seeing. Like last week, a perfect example was beginning of the third quarter. These were the 2 plays that told me the biggest issues with Kelce and Peters so far. So we get 1 first down the first half on a penalty. So the first play of the third quarter, we get a first down. Everyone in the crowd cheers, yay, yippee-doo! Aguilar gets a crossing route, gets 11 yards. So I'm like, all right, maybe we're finding a rhythm here. And then, the first play, Kelce, he pulls out on the perimeter, and, he overruns Lawrence. Lawrence is in the backfield, and that's a loss of 6. The very next play, this time, Peters misses his down block. In comes Jeremy Mincey, and there's a loss of 5. So 2 straight plays, it's 3rd and 21, and that's been the epitome of what we've seen from Peters and Kelce the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly right. And when we're getting negative yards, especially in this offense, with the pace that we play at, it's not going to work out too well for us.
And that brings this question to the table. If they're still struggling offensively, are they going to have to slow the pace down? Because I would think they would have to.
Well, I think it's a great question, and it's really that I think it's something that Chip Kelly, might have to sit down and really think about. I know that Chip Kelly is all about, this fast tempo pace all the time, and maybe at some point he's just got to slow it down at certain times of the game. And if they continue to struggle this week against the Jets, especially if they lose and they look horrible again, it's something that they're going to have to really consider because they can't continue to play at this fast pace and keep getting 3 and outs, 3 and outs, 3 and outs. At some point, you have to slow it down. Chip Kelly's always says it's not about time of possession, and he even brought up a good point in his press conference. He said he's not worried about time of possession, but he says the one thing that he is worried about is the snap count. And the Eagles got dominated in the snap count area against the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's not about possession. It's about plays run, and that's kind of how his thought process has always been. But when you have such a disparity of 40 minutes and 30 seconds and 19:30, well, obviously the other team is possessing the ball a lot more than you are and running a lot more plays. Even though they're running fast pace and all that, 20 minutes, Jesus.
Yeah, so it's something that Chip Kelly's really going to have to think about if they continue to struggle on offense like this. The times when they should really maybe think about slowing down the pace is when they're struggling in a game, when they lose a few yards on first down. Maybe they should think about slowing it down some because we always talk about the first down, but when they lose, like say they lose 5 yards on first down, well, you can pretty much guarantee that it's going to be a 3 and out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move on a little bit to our defense now, which has been outstanding. Well, it was outstanding last week. And let's talk about just Byron Maxwell really, really quickly. I'll say this about him. He wasn't as bad on tape as I thought he was watching him in real game action. But the one play that pissed me off was the slant pass because he gets beat and he gives up on the play. That's what I didn't like. And the laughing for a second straight week. Nothing is funny, and he's laughing. Not cool.
No, it's not something that you want to do if you're new to the Eagles. Playing in this city, obviously, the pictures of him laughing are going to be made public. So I think that he needs someone to talk to him about that. But yeah, Byron Maxwell, the guy's always looked like an alien to me. And well, I brought this up in our text messages, but like through the first two games, I mean, he looks like he's an alien on drugs right now. So I mean, it's just bizarre. And the frustrating part is that we brought all these guys in here in the past, like Asamoah, Fletcher, Kerry Williams, and they're all supposed to come in here and do a decent job, but they seem to struggle. So I mean, we'll see if this continues, but if this is becoming a continuing trend, then maybe it has to do with something with the scheme.
Oh, I 100% agree with you. I think it's the scheme. I really do. But going back to Maxwell really quickly, I mean, I know I said he was like average on Sunday, but average isn't cutting it. That's the thing, though. He's getting paid as a top 5 corner. And while we've been saying all offseason he's not top 10 or anything, he's a really good corner. He's not great, but average is not really good. Average is average, and he needs to play a lot better.
Yeah, no, he needs to play a hell of a lot better for what he's being paid. If there's anything positive to take away from this, I think that he definitely improved from the Falcons game to this Cowboys game. So, hopefully, that trend continues and he can continue to improve because, his play definitely needs to get better.
Yeah, Falcons game, he was a joke. He was awful that game. And I wanted to bring this up too because all offseason we're hearing about how, we're going to be this attacking, aggressive, press at the line of scrimmage sort of secondary. And I'm seeing Maxwell playing 10 yards off, giving inside, letting everybody run inside on him. What the hell's up with that?
Well, that's the most frustrating thing to me. I mean, the whole offseason, all of training camp, they praised themselves on, how they were going to play this press coverage and they have the right cornerbacks to do it. Well, I mean, we haven't seen it. And, this really goes to the whole scheme thing, man. They're not using Maxwell to the best of his ability.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, so that's on Billy Davis. We've never liked Billy Davis, but we're stuck with him. So that's just gonna have to be that way. But yeah, man, that's the part that I don't like about the Maxwell situation right now. And now he's going to be going up against Brandon Marshall on Sunday. So, we'll see how he handles it. The way Maxwell's always been is he's a physical kind of corner, and he's better at covering those kind of wideouts. He struggles against the kind of smaller, quick, shiftier guys, like, say, an Antonio Brown or something. Like last season against Denver, he really, really struggled against Emmanuel Sanders. But when they played Des Bryant, he shut him down.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the Eagles, we're so worried about giving up the X play, the big yardage type of plays in the offseason and through training camp. Well, I mean, at some point, you just got to throw that out the window. You got to press coverage, these receivers. And if they end up getting a big play or two, then they end up getting a big play or two. But at some point, you got to switch up the way you're doing things.
Yeah. So that's our talk on Maxwell. And let's move on to the Jets offense, which isn't that great. And the one shining thing about this game, because you got Ryan Fitzpatrick, a turnover machine. At least he has been in the past. So that's the hope. The thing that I'm kind of looking for is I'm kind of hoping that the Jets kind of just lose this game instead of us winning it, because I don't think we're going to do a lot offensively. I'm just hoping that we don't turn the ball over and just let the Jets beat themselves, and then that's how we're going to score. That's kind of the way I'm looking at this game.
Yeah, well, the one promising thing from our defense has been their ability to cause turnovers this season. So, hopefully we can continue that on Sunday here against the Jets, because our defense is going to have to come up big again and, get some stops for us. And really, in that Cowboys game, the defense did a nice job of keeping the Eagles' offense in the game. So it's unfortunate that we, were unable to allow such a great defensive game go to waste.
Yeah, it really was a shame. I mean, that. Well, all right, I'll just say this real quick. That entire game, it's like, all right, it's 3-0, 6-0 at half, even 13-0. We weren't in the game, but we were in the game, and I was just waiting for the offense to turn around. It just never happened.
Yeah, no, then we got the big turnover there, and then we all know that miscommunication on the snap. Bradford fumbles the snap, and it was all downhill from there. But that was really the turning point, because we felt like there was going to be a big momentum shift after the Eagles caused that big turnover, but the offense just stalled.
Yep. All right, moving on to this, because obviously some key injuries on our defense right now. Kiko Alonso sounds like a partially torn ACL, which is a sprained knee. And, that's a little concerning, obviously. He had a torn ACL last year. I'll get to that in a second. Cedric Thornton out 2 to 3 weeks with a hand injury, broke his hand. Michael Kendricks has a hamstring injury, and that's going to linger. So 3 guys on defense, and now all of a sudden we're going to thrust Jordan Hicks into the mix, D'Amico Ryans. Those 2 are going to be your linebackers on Sunday. We'll see. I mean, it's funny. Chip's like, oh, well, I haven't ruled out Kiko for Sunday. Get the hell out of here, Chip. He's not playing.
Yeah, no, you won't expect Kiko to be out. Kiko won't be out there for another few weeks at least. Hopefully, it's only a few weeks. It seems like it's one of those things where he has an option to get another surgery to repair it again, and if that's the case, he would be done for the year. But right now, it looks like he's going to try to play through it and sit out a few weeks here. Really, you talk about Kendricks, he's probably out a week or 2 with that hamstring. So it really puts a lot of pressure on Jordan Hicks. Kind of was a surprising pick for us in the draft that we took him so early. And, you got to give Jordan Hicks credit, because he did play well against the Cowboys, and we can thank him for injuring Romo. But this is going to be a big test for Jordan Hicks. And we'll see if he can, step up into the task.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I hated the pick. I just despised it because I wanted a guard so bad. I wanted one of those, 3 guards that went early in the 4th round that we wound up trading our pick for. But I'll tell you what, Hicks has been our best rookie so far, at least through 2 games. He played well against Dallas.
Yeah, if you would have told me that Hicks would have been our best rookie after the draft, I would have said you're nuts.
Yeah. So, and he played a lot better than Ryans did. Ryans has not looked good in 2 games. Really, really struggled covering the pass. I mean, I think there was a couple plays where Witten just burned him really, really badly. Still recovering from the Achilles injury. It takes a little bit while to recover from it to really get back to where you were, but he is getting on the older side, not on the right side of 30. So maybe this is just who the player he's going to be.
Yeah, he's looking a little bit slow at this point. So, I mean, at this point, they really need him with the injuries.
Yeah, so there's that. But Fletcher Cox, Benny Logan, they continue to play really, really, really good run defense. And obviously, this is something that the Jets are going to do offensively. Is they're a very conservative, run-based, power rushing attack. And with that defense, that's how you want to play. So stopping the run is going to be the key on defense, obviously.
Yeah, the two guys that we haven't been wrong about are Benny Logan and Fletcher Cox, because those guys just continue to come out every week and play outstanding, just getting great pressure in the backfield, especially Fletcher Cox. They did that, that sound effects on NFL Network, the Eagles Cowboys game, and it was Fletcher Cox was mic'd up, and pretty funny if you haven't checked it out yet. But he was literally in the backfield, it seemed like, on every single play. So the guy he's just a beast. He just beats double teams like it's nothing. So yeah, this week you can really look for him and Benny Logan to continue to impress. And the other guy to watch now with Thornton out, it looks like you're going to see more of Brandon Bear, maybe some Vinny Curry, and also Taylor Hart.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, one of the underrated matchups of this Sunday, it's not a sexy matchup for the casual fan, but I can't wait to see Benny go up against Nick Mangold. That's going to be a lot of fun, at least for me.
Yeah, no, that's a hell of a matchup. Mangold is obviously experienced player in this league, very good center, so that'll be a good matchup for Benny Logan there.
But I'll tell you what, Fletcher Cox is going to feast. Going up against oh, man, their guards, James Carpenter and Willie Colon, they're not the best. So Cox is going to feast on Sunday.
Yeah, well, we're going to need him to feast.
Yeah, that's for sure. So there's that. Covered, offense, defense, all that good stuff. So I'll pose this question to you, because obviously the sky is falling down in Philadelphia. Everybody's all just like, oh, my God, we're done. Season's over. What if we would have beaten Atlanta? What if Cody Parkey makes that field goal and we stop him and we're 1-1? Would we have the same reaction as we do right now? Reacting.
Well, I would have the same reaction, because we knew that even if we won that Falcons game, it was going to be a false win the way that we played. And after that Cowboys game, it wouldn't even matter what their record was before that. You just can't go out and put up an offensive performance like that in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, a lot of very, very, very concerning things the first 2 weeks, but it's also only the first 2 weeks, and these are things that can be fixed. A lot of season left. And, the offensive problems almost remind me a little bit of New England last year. New England got off to a 2-2 start. Everybody thought Tom Brady was washed up. He was done. The Patriots dynasty was over. And then Belichick adjusted by utilizing his tight ends more, and 2 tight end sets, getting them involved in the passing game. Because obviously the wide receivers on New England aren't, anything that are that great. Julian Edelman, I think he's a really good player, but besides him, everyone else is just kind of, average, mediocre. Danny Amendola can never stay on the field. Brandon LaFell, he's decent. But, so, we'll see how Chip adjusts what he's going to do. And that's going to be the fun part of watching his offensive genius go to work. Is he really an offensive genius? Can he turn it around? We'll see.
We'll find out. This is probably, Chip Kelly's, biggest test yet in the NFL, I would say.
Yeah. It's reminds me of 2 years ago. You lose to Dallas 17-3. You lose to the Giants 15-7. And then what did he do against Oakland? Well, what happened against Oakland? Nick Foles throws 7 touchdown passes. You had Merrill Hodge going and calling Chip's offense vanilla and all this stuff, and then Chip goes and they go 7-2 of their last 9 games. So obviously the Jets defense a little bit better than Oakland's. I think we can all attest to that. But I mean, there's a lot of people are freaking out. I'm trying to keep calm and chip on. And the best part about the whole situation is that they're in the NFC East. I mean, this division is a flat-out joke right now. Romo is out for 8 weeks. Des Bryant's out for 8 weeks. So, I mean, the division's up for grabs, even if they start 0-3, because 8-8 can win this damn thing.
Yeah, well, they definitely shouldn't try to start 0-3. I'll tell you that much. We don't want to try those odds. I mean, already we have the odds stacked against us at 0-2 and making the playoffs. So, yeah, but you're right. I mean, there's still plenty of season left for them to turn this thing around. There's an encouraging thing is that if they can get a win this week against the Jets, the next few weeks after that aren't looking so tough. You know, you've got the Redskins in there, you got the Saints, you also have the Giants coming up in there. So the Eagles can, start to turn things around a little bit here, and they could roll off a few wins. And at this point, that's what this team needs.
Yeah, absolutely agree with you. And the funny thing, looking back at the preseason, though, is it's a little mini reality check. Even though the Ravens and Colts are a lot better than their record is, but those two teams are combined 0-4, and the Packers were without Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's pretty much the preseason means absolutely nothing. And that's why they need to just freaking reduce the preseason to 2 games so everyone can stop all this overreaction in the preseason.
Oh, man, Philadelphia, we just love to overreact. It's just what we do, But let's move on to predictions for the game. We're pretty much on the same boat here. I really have no idea what's really going to happen. I have no idea. I don't know if this team's going to show up. Maybe this is just how bad the offense is. I don't know. This is one game that I can think of, like, I just don't know. So, but I got the Eagles winning 16-13. It's going to be a slugfest. Not going to be pretty offense at all. But I think we win by a field goal.
Yeah, I really feel the same way. I mean, I'm at 17-14 Eagles right now, but like you said, this game could go so many different ways that it's really so hard to predict. I mean, let's hope that Eagles just need a win. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It doesn't matter how in the world they do it. Even if they win 3-0, well, 2-0, just a win.
Yeah. I mean, when I was joking, like, first team to 10 points wins, like, literally that's what might happen.
Yeah, I mean, it might if both defenses are up for the task. Create turnovers. It's possible.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see, man. I mean, it's just just getting a win is what matters. I mean, that's what can start a string of more wins. I mean, it's like a basketball player, a guy that's having an off night, like say an Allen Iverson can't get his shot going, but he finally gets to the free throw line for the first time of the game, and he hits a couple free throws, and then that's what kind of gets you going. Well, those 2 free throws is the equivalence of just getting one win, no matter how ugly it is, just getting in the win column.
Yeah, exactly right. Just get the W.
Throw the dubs up. All right, so I think that's pretty much it for this show. We covered all bases, defense, offense. We talked about our offense and the struggles and what we can fix and all that good stuff. So it's final thoughts time, and you're up, Mike.
Well, even though Sunday's game against the Cowboys was just absolutely horrible. There was a funny moment in the game besides the fan running onto the field, and it was the one play where DeMarco Murray took that pass out into the flat and he leaped over a defender, and then Murray was fired up as he got along the Cowboys sideline, and the Cowboys kicker, Dan Bailey, he was not happy with DeMarco Murray being so fired up, and he actually held Murray a little bit and ended up getting a penalty. I was just kind of laughing, thinking back on it, thinking if the Eagles were actually able to turn that game around, and how funny it would have been if Dan Bailey was the reason the Cowboys would end up losing that game.
Oh, our idiot kicker cost us the game.
Yeah, that's why it shows you why these kickers are knuckleheads, man. They just have a weird mindset, and that's why we were so pissed off with how Chip Kelly handled the Parkey field goal in the Falcons game, because you just can't do anything to mess with these guys' heads.
Yeah, it's very mentally driven for them. You start missing a few field goals, the confidence goes south, and it's just it's completely mental for them.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, so all right, that's that. You got your final thought in there. We're out of here, and oh man, I'll tell you what, I am going to be praying. I'm going to be doing like 10 Our Fathers. Hopefully, I might even go to church on Sunday. So hopefully, we can just get a win, and maybe Philadelphia can calm themselves down a little bit. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's Mike Owens. I'm Adrian Fenke. We're out of here. Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds.